just when Dominacio was incorporating one day, I was sitting in the first row, and I just opened my heart chakra that day, and really had my eyes completely closed all the time, and I didn't know what happened at that time. And it was a morning session, and when I got out, I had such a heartbeat and so fast that I thought I would get a heart infarction. And then just because of that, went down to the Cachoeira, the waterfall, to release, and that was a little bit better, but I was like pumped up, really pumped up. And in the afternoon session when we started, then I learned to know that Medium Joe was incorporated by Ignatius de Loyola, Dominacio, and it was so much energy that he had to hold the hands of his volunteers, because it was so much energy. I noticed, this is the explanation for it, I really felt it like a beam coming through the air straight into me, and it was really, my heart was pumping really very fast. The first time I was here was 2008, September, and I can just say that was the most important step in my life, to come here, because this place is above everything. This is the most beautiful, greatest gift that you can have, to be here. So I'm grateful every day. And I was here first time 2 weeks. When I get home, after I've been in Abidjan, every time I feel always that I have so much energy, full of energy, and I don't have to sleep more than 4 or 5 hours. It was 1987. I started to have some problems, and it took a couple of months till I went to the exam, because I always had some very sportive life and very healthy style of living. So I didn't think that I would have anything, any kind of problems, serious problems. Anyway, when it got so bad that I had to go and make exam, then stated that I have a colon cancer. So it was on a Friday, and Monday was already operated, and they said it was just an adenoma, not a cancer. So I didn't take anything else, just like that. And then I recovered, and there was no problem. Couple of years. Then I had a recurrence. So I had my tumor marker started to elevate, and they checked my colon. There was nothing in it, and nothing in the liver at that time. So physicians were very satisfied with me, but I still had a very high CEA. This is the tumor marker. And then 1994, it was already so high that they had to check me. So they found a tumor in my abdomen outside the colon, but nothing else. So they took that away. Then nothing happened again. Everything was okay. And then year 1999, suddenly I had horrible back pains. And when we checked an MRI lastly, then they found 4 times 2 times 3 centimeters large tumor in my sacrum. That was inoperable in Austria, so I got chemotherapy and radiation, and lastly I came to the United States, where I was operated. That was the only place they could operate me without having any bigger problems. I could go back to my normal life. And I was operated at Yale, 22 hours long. And they took out 3/4 of my colon, a piece of my liver, a piece of my bladder. They took my whole sacrum, so 85% of my sacrum, and both of my buttocks, gluteus maximus and medius. And what was more? Yeah, they made, of course, plastics that I can walk again. And I got also 109 this size of radioactive seeds, so make sure that no cancer cells are left over. So again, chemotherapy, 3/4 of a year, to be sure. All right, but I had again 4 years free time, so it was nothing then. But after that, it started to get really worse. So I had metastasis under the skin, in my abdomen, outside the colon that was left over, and yeah, that was operated. And lastly, I also got chemotherapy. So another 1.5 years. I got more than 2.5 years chemotherapy, and that didn't help. You know, I would always get a stronger and stronger dosage of chemotherapy. Well, that time the surgeon said we have to operate you and take out everything that is left over in this operator. And I said, no, I don't do this. So I went home and lay down. That day, lay down after my last chemotherapy. I said to myself, never anything else, no chemotherapy. And I were lying on my sofa and suffering, and you know, everything that you have when you have chemotherapy, vomiting and nausea and all that thing. And suddenly I saw a Discovery Channel, and medium Zsolt was to be seen, and he looks at me like calling me. So I felt at that moment immediately, it was really a wonderful feeling. I cannot really tell you how it was, but my feeling was immediately, I have to go there. So I went up to my wife and said, we are going to Brazil. She was surprised. She said it was holiday or something like that. Well, then we came to send a picture and got across that I have to come here. So we decided to get over as fast as possible. Since the Big Bang, we are all connected together. We don't see it, this energy. We are everything that our mind, our matter, everything comes from the same source. This is the universal electromagnetic field. This is what we call the divine matrix. Okay? So this is important to know, that we are nothing else than dense energy. Yeah? We are not matter. There is no matter. There is dense energy. So I got sick. All sicknesses explained because of losing energy. And I was here the second time. I was misunderstanding the anti-Daja, what he said, and I thought I am healed already. I thought he said você curada, but he said curador, you are a healer. Well, I was a physician, because that was Dr. Osvaldo Cruz, and I was the first person in there also. We talked very long, and he asked me what I do, and it was very nice. And somebody told me, who was sitting very close, that he definitely said that you are healed. So I went around for 3 weeks, being in Abidjan, thinking that I'm healed. Of course, I was every day in the casa meditating just as well, but I felt very, very well. But the last day, when I get up to say farewell to Anti-Daja, I thanked him for healing me, and he looked at me and said, son, you are not healed yet, but you're much better. You can go and make medical exam. So that was also just as nice and fine as if I would have been healed at once. When I sit in the benches, I try to get in a very deep state of mind, consciousness, is called theta waves when you have about 3 to 7 hertz frequency. And it is just before you get to sleep. And this is the moment you can connect to higher consciousness, your higher self. And your higher self is also connected to the divine matrix, where all information is there. And through this entanglement can we be healed. We get the energy, we don't see it, we cannot measure it yet because we don't have these instruments, but many people, just as me, also can feel the energy from entities, thousands of them working around us, and this is what happens. So in clear words, I come into the very deep state of mind and try to connect to my higher self at that moment. And many people think they are sleeping, but they are actually just in very deep state of mind. And then you get the healing energy from the entities, the right subtle, right frequencies of energy. Every atom in our body has a very specific frequency, and every atom in the cancer also very specific. They have made also tests that they give energy, subtle, right frequencies of energy to cancer cells, and they got healed. Everything in us is not chemistry, it is energy and information. Mm-hmm. So we can measure our whole body healthy frequencies about 72, and the higher it is, the better. Yeah. This is healthy cells, because the energy can flow in us. All sickness happens when the energy stops to flow. And they knew, old mystics, also prana and chi, they knew it already earlier. And the modern Western medicine is actually only 250 years old. They throw everything away and think everything is just matter. Last year, 2010, 3rd of March, he said to me, he called me out from the line, and he said to me, I know that you as a physician in Mexico, I know that you help many people, you have a big heart and much compassion, and a very strong belief. And if everybody would have such a strong belief, they could also be healed. So you can go home as a healed person. You're healed, son. So that sounds not very easy like this, but it was of course a lot of work here also. And after all this suffering that you went through, it was an incredible moment in your life. It's the most beautiful moment you can imagine. So I had to sit down close to him there and just felt the energy. I was trembling and crying all the time, and it was a fantastic moment.